Welcome to the Wife Stories YouTube channel. New video every day, and don't forget to subscribe. Here we go.
You haven't changed. Her voice slices the silence like a blade. I notice her bare feet first. Pale arches against the dull, patterned hotel carpet. She's standing there, near the window, wearing a blouse that once looked pristine, now slightly wrinkled. I see a suitcase on the bed behind her, and a half-open door leading to the bathroom. The air smells of stale coffee and leftover perfume. I'm not sure how I ended up here, in this dimly lit room on the outskirts of Chicago. Maybe it's because I wanted to see it with my own eyes, the place she shared with him. Or maybe it's because I thought I'd find something, some shred of truth, in that dark space between the pillow and the sheets. I try to speak, but the words stick in my throat. My chest burns, my shoulder throbs as if I've been carrying this weight for too long. Physical pain can sometimes feel more bearable than what churns inside. I press a hand against my sternum, drawing a slow breath. She steps forward, her ankles crossing with that poised, deliberate grace I'd admired in her for years. Evelyn, my wife. The same woman who told me once that love was about patience and honesty. Now she looks at me with a coldness I've never seen, or maybe refused to see. Her hair, chestnut with faint golden strands, brushes her shoulders in a style too elegant for a cheap chain hotel. Somehow that detail stabs me more than the words. She repeats, quietly, "You haven't changed." Like an indictment, as if I'm some relic stuck in the past. I hear the low hum of a car outside. Headlights flash momentarily against the closed curtains, revealing the shape of my reflection in the window. I hardly recognize myself. Same broad shoulders, same slight stoop from years hunched at a desk job, same short, thinning hair. But my eyes, they look hollow. There's a knot in my stomach, twisting tight. I think about the day I found out, the way my phone buzzed with a social media tag from her friend. An inside joke, a photo with a caption that read, "When your boyfriend is better than your husband." It slammed into me like a truck on a winter highway. I sat by the fireplace at home, the flames throwing shadows across the walls. My breath caught. My heart rattled like a loose bolt. Then, I felt nothing but a wave of heat, a silent rage burning me from within. Yet there I was, so quiet. Now, in this hotel room, she stands barefoot on the carpet, her suitcase half packed, the evidence of her business trip turned rendezvous. I clench my fists, nails biting my palms. I try to imagine how it started. Maybe a casual conversation about marketing strategies, a shared laugh over coffee, a meeting that went late, a dinner, a few drinks. And then, the image in my mind is almost unbearable. Her blouse slipping off a shoulder, her hand tangling in someone else's hair. The mere thought jolts a deep ache through my torso. I shut my eyes. It hurts worse than any bruise or broken bone. I swallow. "Evelyn," I manage to say, my voice lower than usual, as if I'm testifying in a courtroom. "Who's the one that's changed, really?" She exhales, crossing her arms. "James, don't start with that. You showed up here, unannounced, like some stranger. You should have called. You should have let me explain on my terms." Her terms. That phrase sets my teeth on edge. I taste copper in my mouth, like I've bitten my tongue too hard. I consider telling her about the photo, but she already knows. She knows exactly how I found out, or at least she suspects. And she knows I've seen enough to end this marriage on the spot. A flash outside. Thunder. When I got here, the sky was clear. Now thick clouds roll in. Rain starts pattering against the window. A slow hiss, like a distant whisper. My pulse drums in my ears, out of sync with the steady rattle on the glass. I stare at her bare feet. She always said she hated wearing socks unless necessary, liked to feel the ground beneath her toes. A bizarre thing to fixate on, maybe, but it's those details that break me. The same woman, in the same body, who'd once entwined her feet with mine under the covers on winter nights. The same feet that danced with me at our wedding, trembling with laughter. "Are you just going to stand there?" she asks, voice rising. Her eyes flick to the door, then back to me. She's probably thinking about him, worried he might come back any second. I can practically hear her mind spinning. I let the silence stretch. My throat is tight. My mind keeps going back to the day she returned from one of her consulting trips, the day I first suspected. She'd come home with a neat little box of gifts for me, smile too wide. Her eyes were empty. I remember noticing the fresh bruise on her collarbone in the shape of a man's fingers. No, the shape of desire. She dismissed it as an accidental bump against a doorframe. I wanted so badly to believe her that I shoved the thought aside and forced a laugh. We never spoke of it again. Not until the phone buzzed, and I saw that humiliating post from her friend. So now we stand here. She's barefoot. I'm in the same worn loafers that took me from the office to the car. Driving 2 hours just to see, to confirm. Before I can speak, the door behind her rattles. I sense a presence, and then he appears, stepping from the bathroom. Lucas Hayward, with his short dark hair and confident stance. His eyes fall on me, and for a moment, we just watch each other like predators circling, each trying to guess the other's next move. He's shirtless, a towel draped around his neck. This is the man my wife found more appealing. He's younger, smoother, a spark in his eye that says he knows exactly the effect he has on people. He smirks. "James, right?" As if we're meeting at a corporate mixer. I nod once, mouth set in a thin line. A wave of heat surges up my spine. I want to lunge, to knock that smug look off his face. But I don't. Instead, I remain silent. My knuckles whiten around the phone in my hand. Evelyn rubs her forehead, exasperated. "Lucas, please put on a shirt." He shrugs, unbothered, like he's used to orchestrating scenes exactly like this. "Sure." He steps to the closet, rummages. My gaze never leaves him, tension coiling in my muscles. I notice every detail. The slow, deliberate way he moves, the casual confidence of a man who believes he's untouchable. Evelyn looks at me again, defensive. "It isn't what you think." A standard line. I can almost predict the next words. "We just needed to talk. We got carried away. Or we're just friends. You misunderstood." But she doesn't say any of that. Instead, "You always barge in, expecting to control the situation. You can't stand that I've grown, that I want more." Her eyes glisten with tears, or maybe anger. I feel the old dryness in my throat, the stiffness in my left shoulder. My father once told me real pain doesn't always show. It just hollows you out from the inside. Right now, I feel it in every bone. I speak quietly, each word measured like a sworn statement. "What I saw on your friend's post. When your boyfriend is better than your husband." That was the exact phrase. I read it twice. "I know what this is." She flinches. Lucas smirks, pulling on his shirt. Then he crosses his arms, leaning against the cheap dresser, as if he's the victor in this triangle. Lightning flickers outside. The thunder is closer now, a low, menacing rumble. My heart keeps pace, thumping so loudly I can barely hear my own voice. But I keep it steady, because if I let myself explode, I don't know where it will end. Evelyn's jaw tightens. This was a mistake," she says, gesturing vaguely to Lucas, and the suite behind her. "But don't pretend you don't bear responsibility." A red haze threatens my vision. For a moment, I want to scream, to demand how any of this is my fault. But I remember I'm a grown man, not a child. I breathe. The tightness in my chest intensifies, reminding me of my father's funeral, how grief clenched around my ribs. Lucas huffs. "You two want me to step out, or are we making this a full-on domestic showdown?" "You should leave," I say, voice a low rasp. "We need to talk." He glances at Evelyn, waiting for her signal. I hate that, how he defers to her, as though they share a secret world. She nods. He lifts his hands in mock surrender, fishes a keycard from the nightstand, and grabs a jacket. Before walking out, he levels me with a gaze that drips condescension. Don't be too hard on her. We both had our reasons. The door clicks shut behind him, leaving an echo in the stale air. The storm outside intensifies, wind howling. Rain slaps the window in heavy bursts, as if nature itself wants to punish someone. Evelyn looks at me for a long moment. I see the doubt in her eyes, or perhaps it's regret. Her arms drop to her sides, and I notice her trembling fingers. I speak first. How long? Does it matter? She tries to sound defiant, but her voice quivers. How long? I repeat. My throat burns from the restraint. She exhales slowly. 4 months. Off and on. My vision blurs, and I realize I'm pressing my nails into my palms again. The physical pain is strangely grounding. I focus on that. I force my gaze around the room. The cheap floral bedspread, the flickering lamp, a half-finished bottle of wine on the table. Everything feels surreal. You've been lying to me for 4 months. I say, each word weighing a ton. She looks away. Rain trails down the glass, forming rivulets. I wonder if her tears might do the same if she'd let them. But she won't cry. I know her. She hates to appear weak. At last, she speaks, almost a whisper. I needed something else in my life. I can't just be the quiet wife, supporting your stable little world. I've worked hard. I wanted more. My voice cracks. So you found it in some fling with a younger guy who what? Tells you you're brilliant, that you can conquer the universe. She doesn't answer directly. She steps toward the bed, runs a hand over the suitcase. Why did you come here? Silence, except for the pounding rain. Then I push the words out. I needed to see it. I needed to see you with him. Your friend's post was humiliating enough, but part of me thought it might be a misunderstanding. I guess I needed to confront the truth. She exhales, shoulders sagging. James, you suffocate me. My knees almost buckle. Suffocate you. By what? Going to work every morning. Paying the bills. Trying to keep our life stable. Her jaw sets again. Exactly. It's so predictable. So safe. And I felt trapped. The overhead light flickers. I remember the storm forecast on the radio as I drove. This is a powerful front, they said, likely to bring heavy winds and possible hail. A big shift. Thunder shakes the window again. I reach inside my pocket, pulling out my phone. I unlock it, scroll to that hateful image. I hold it up for her to see. Her friend's caption is blazing bright. You humiliated me, I say, my voice trembling. All those nights by the fireplace, waiting for you to come home, trusting you were just busy or exhausted from travel. And this was what you were doing instead. She looks at the screen only a moment before she recoils. It's not. She starts, then stops herself. I never meant for it to go public. That was my friend. She posted it. She was being stupid. But you let it happen. I interrupt, voice rising. God, Evelyn, do you know what it's like to see that? To think everyone around me might be laughing behind my back. She stares at the floor. Her bare feet shift slightly. I hear my own breath, ragged and uneven. For a moment, I want to fling the phone against the wall. But I keep my hand steady. You're hurting, she murmurs, glancing at my clenched fist. You're shaking. I realize I am. My whole arm trembles, and I'm vaguely aware of a deep ache radiating from the left side of my chest. I rub at it, trying not to let her see how vulnerable I feel. We stand there in that thick, suffocating silence again. The thunder intensifies, rolling across the dark sky. I can almost feel the electricity in the air. Then I break the hush. Evelyn, do you love him? She closes her eyes. I don't know. You don't know, I echo. The words taste bitter. Well, do you love me? Her eyelids flutter open, but she doesn't answer. She just breathes, shallow and quick. That's all I need to know. If she doesn't have an answer, it's an answer in itself. My chest tightens further, and I recall my father's casket, the black suits, the way I felt a piece of me was lowered into the ground with him. This feels just as final. I should walk out, I say, barely hearing my own voice over the storm. Right now. She lowers her head, tears pooling at the corners of her eyes, but she fights them back. James. I turn to leave. My hand touches the doorknob. Rain thrashes the window behind me, furious, relentless. Something in me wants to slam the door and never look back. But then a darker urge takes hold. The need for closure, or perhaps revenge. My father taught me never to leave a job half-finished. I release the knob. No, I mutter. We're not done. She looks startled. Her lips part, but no words come. Then I cross the room, pick up her phone from the nightstand. She left it there, screen dark, probably ignoring a dozen messages from me. I swipe it open. She had the courtesy or arrogance not to change her passcode. I scroll, and there it is. Messages from Lucas. Explicit lines, half-naked pictures, the entire archive of their fling. She rushes over, tries to snatch it from my hand. Stop it. Give me that. I raise my arm, stepping back. My voice is low, lethal. You want me to see the whole picture. Show me what you've really been doing behind my back. Her expression is frantic. Don't. Please. Don't. I sneer. You think there's a single ounce of dignity left to preserve after I read that post, and now stand in this room with your lover's sweat still in the air. She tries again to grab the phone, but I spin away. My left shoulder twinges with pain, but I ignore it. I open the gallery. The first image that pops up is of the two of them, intimately close, her hand on his chest, her face lit by a grin I haven't seen in years. The shot is angled like it was taken in a mirror. She's wearing nothing but a towel around her waist, her arms draped over him. If I stare any longer, I might break. My vision red, I throw the phone on the bed. I step back, inhaling deeply to keep myself from doing something I'll regret. Or maybe I've already done that by coming here. She stands there, tears finally escaping, rolling down her cheeks, but I'm not moved. I feel empty, a hollowness that echoes with every heartbeat. You've had your fun, I say it voice tight. And you've lied to me for months. You want a new life. You can have it. She looks at me with a haunted expression, like she's seeing a stranger. James, listen. A sharp ring from my phone interrupts her. I pull it out, see my mother's number. I hesitate, but I can't handle that conversation right now. I silence it. I picture my mother in her small house back in Tulsa, probably calling to check on me, feeling that something's wrong. She always worried after Dad passed. I let the call go to voicemail. The storm rattles the windows. The desk lamp flickers again. I can almost see the reflection of lightning in Evelyn's tearful eyes. My chest throbs, and I wonder if stress can physically tear the muscles around your heart. I speak again, slow and deliberate. We'll talk about our marriage, about property, about everything, later. Right now, I need you to pack your things and go. Don't come home tonight. I can't. My voice falters. I can't look at you under the same roof right now. She rubbed her arms, hugging herself as though suddenly cold. Where am I supposed to go? I raise an eyebrow, glancing around. Isn't that obvious? The words hang, dripping with implication. She exhales, then nods. Maybe she'll stay with him. Maybe they'll rent another room. I can't bring myself to care. I cross toward the door again, ignoring the searing knot in my shoulder. She calls out, her voice cracking. James, please, just wait. I pause, but don't turn around. Silence. Then I hear her sniff, a trembling breath. For a second, I imagine stepping back to her, comforting her as I've done so many times before. But that man is gone. I open the door. The hallway is harshly lit, a line of identical doors. A cheap hotel for illicit affairs. I walk away. My shoes squeak against the tile. The storm outside howls. I drive slowly along the rain-slick highway, mind spinning. The wipers beat a frantic rhythm, and each flash of lightning illuminates a swirl of endless water on the windshield. It's as if the sky has cracked open in rage. I pass a motel sign half lit by flickering neon. My chest pangs again, and I press a palm against it, trying to slow my breathing. She said 4 months. 4 months of stolen moments, hidden messages, presumably passionate nights. Anger grips me again. I recall how her friend's post dripped with condescension. That smirk of a caption, when your boyfriend is better than your husband. I feel humiliated, betrayed. A numbness seeps into my limbs. It's not just my heart that's compromised. It's my sense of reality. I pull over into a deserted parking lot behind a closed diner. My breath shakes. I tighten both hands on the steering wheel, leaning my forehead against it, eyes closed. The memories flood me. The time we celebrated her promotion, toasting with champagne at home, because we couldn't afford a fancy restaurant back then. The night we moved into our house near Chicago, painting walls until midnight, dancing to old records on the dusty floor. Our wedding day in Tulsa, how she laughed at my mother's jokes, how my father shook her hand with pride. And now, bare feet on the cheap hotel carpet. Another man, half naked, sneering at me. My body trembles as the thunder shakes the car. I want to scream, but only silence emerges. The kind that weighs 1,000 pounds. I force myself to start the engine again. This city is not my home, but I don't want to go back to the house that's filled with her presence. Not yet. I decide to stop by my office, not far from here. I have the keys, and at least there's a couch in the break room. The bank building stands tall and empty at this hour. I park in the employees' lot. The security guard at the entrance recognizes me, though it's well past midnight. He raises an eyebrow, but doesn't ask questions. I flash him a quick nod and walk through the lobby, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. My footsteps echo in the corridor. Memories swirl. Typically, I'm the first one in and the last to leave. My desk always neat, my tie always straight. Now I'm here in casual clothes, soaked from the rain, hair matted to my forehead. I rub my aching shoulder and push into the break room. I flick on the light. The room is sterile and bland. A vending machine, a microwave, a stained coffee pot. I drop into the old couch, breathing heavily, letting the day's events crash over me. My phone buzzes, a text from Evelyn. I know I shouldn't read it, but I do. Greater than I'm sorry. Let's talk tomorrow. Please. I toss the phone onto the table with a clatter. I close my eyes, trying to block out everything. But I can't. I see her, half naked with Lucas, or holding his hand in some discreet coffee shop, or leaning on him in bed. The knot in my chest tightens further. After a while, I realize I'm still soaked, the cold seeping into my bones. I stand, rummage for some towels. Finding none, I settle for a handful of paper towels from the dispenser. I wipe my face, run them over my short hair, slump back onto the couch. Thunder rattles the windows again. The storm hasn't passed. It's building, intensifying. My father once joked that storms reflect the human soul. If that's true, then tonight's tempest is the echo of my torment. I let my eyes drift shut, ignoring the bright overhead lights. The ache in my chest blends with a fierce headache. My mind keeps replaying her voice. You suffocate me. Then I see Lucas's grin. My stomach churns. Somehow, exhaustion claims me. I slip into a restless doze, my body trembling with every thunderclap. I wake to a dull, throbbing pain in my temples. Light from the corridor seeps under the break room door. My watch reads 3:21 a.m. I groan, stand up, and stretch. My shoulder crackles in protest, as if carrying all the weight of betrayal. I decide to check my phone. Another text from Evelyn. Greater than I'm at a friend's place. Don't do anything rash. Let's talk calmly tomorrow. A friend's place. Maybe her friend from that humiliating post. Or maybe with Lucas. I can't bring myself to reply. Instead, I go to the window. Rain has slowed to a drizzle. Though the sky remains black, I see my reflection in the glass. Disheveled, eyes bloodshot. The man I see is unfamiliar, a statue of heartbreak. My mind drifts to all the times I tried to be a good husband. Did I fail so profoundly? Or was she just consumed by ambition, by a hunger for something bigger, something I couldn't give? My father used to say, if a person wants to leave, they'll find any reason. Maybe that's what happened. As the minutes crawl by, I realize I can't stay here forever, but I can't go home either. So I do what I do best, bury myself in tasks. I sit at my desk, power up my computer, and begin skimming through emails. That mechanical routine, the familiar hum of the CPU, the glare of the screen. They soothe me, distract me, keep me from drowning in this emotional storm. Time passes in fits and starts. Dawn's first gray light finds me hunched over the keyboard, half a pot of coffee drained. My body screams for rest, but my mind refuses. Eventually, I stand, rummage in a drawer for a spare shirt I sometimes keep for emergencies. I swap out my rain-soaked one, comb my hair with my fingers, and leave the building. The drive home is slow. The sun tries to break through thick clouds, casting an eerie, pale glow. My heart hammers. I don't know what I'll find. Maybe she's back, maybe not. I grip the wheel tightly as I pull into our driveway. Her car isn't there. The house looks the same as always, but emptier. I step inside. The living room is dim and cold. The fireplace is just a dark shell of bricks. I lock the door behind me, wander through the familiar halls. Everything is in place, yet it feels like a crime scene. On the couch, I see the small throw pillow she always used. In the kitchen, the cup she used for her morning smoothies still sits next to the sink. In our bedroom, I notice the bed is made, neatly, my usual side untouched from last night. I stand there, letting the silence press against me. Eventually, I return to the living room. I stare at the fireplace, remembering how I sat before those flames the night I discovered the post. The cracking embers had felt almost comforting. But now, everything is cold ash. My phone buzzes again. A message from an unknown number. I frown. Unlock it. Greater than James. This is Lucas. We need to talk. Don't ignore me. A spasm of anger surges through me. How the hell did he get my number? My mind reels. Did Evelyn give it to him, or did he find it some other way? My first instinct is to hurl the phone across the room, but I stop. My father told me once, never make decisions in anger. Maybe it's time to face the man, to see what he wants. I type back, greater than you've got my attention. What? His reply comes quickly, greater than meet me at the cafe on 4th and Burnside. 9 a.m., I'm serious. I glance at the time. 8:15 a.m. So he wants to see me in 45 minutes. My jaw clenches. Why should I meet him? Then again, maybe I need to. Something in me wants closure. Or maybe I want to corner him, force him to admit he's seduced my wife. The mere thought causes my chest to flare with pain again. I tuck the phone in my pocket, heading to the bathroom to splash water on my face. My eyes are bloodshot, my expression haggard. I look like I've aged 10 years overnight. But I can't show weakness. The cafe is small, tucked between a boarded-up bookstore and a rundown convenience store. The neon sign in the window reads OPN, but the place looks nearly deserted. I spot Lucas sitting in a corner booth. He's wearing a crisp shirt, sipping from a mug. I inhale, then walk inside. He doesn't stand, doesn't offer a handshake, just waves me over like we're old pals. I slide into the booth opposite him. The tension is thick enough to cut with a dull knife. For a moment, neither of us speaks. I study him. The faint stubble on his jaw, the slicked back hair, the casual smirk that doesn't quite leave his face. His arrogance is palpable, and it ignites a low boil in my gut. He breaks the silence. Coffee? No. Suit yourself. He shrugs, sips his drink. Then he sets the mug down. I told Evelyn I'd talk to you. I grunt. She didn't mention that. He shifts in his seat. No, I'm sure she didn't. She's upset. I bite back a retort. Cut to the chase. He drums his fingers on the table. Look, man, I know you hate me. Understandable. But there are some things you need to know. For one, I didn't. He searches for the right word. I didn't plan on wrecking your marriage. It kind of happened. You just couldn't help yourself. I say, voice tight. He winces, maybe genuinely. Evelyn and I connected at an industry event. One thing led to another. She opened up about feeling trapped, unappreciated. He exhales. I gave her an outlet. I feel the edges of my vision flicker red again. But I hold it in. So that's your justification. Just telling you the truth, he says. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to apologize for being with her. She came willingly. I clench my fists on the table, ignoring the jolt of pain in my shoulder. What do you want from me, Lucas? He meets my gaze, attempts sincerity. I want you to know it wasn't some cheap fling. She's a remarkable woman. We talked about her ambitions. She's not the type to be caged. She told me about your life, your routine. I lean forward, lowering my voice. So you're telling me you're in love with my wife? He shrugs, lips pressed thin. I don't know if love is the word, but I care about her. And I know she's hurting because she feels you never saw her for who she could be. My heart pounds. A wave of raw fury surges. You have no idea what I see, I hiss, or what I've sacrificed to support her. Lucas's phone buzzes on the table. He ignores it. James, I'm not your enemy. Really? My laugh is hollow. You're sleeping with my wife, and you say you're not my enemy. He flinches but regains composure quickly. Look, Evelyn asked me to talk to you so no one does anything extreme. She's worried you might try to ruin her career or expose everything publicly. She's terrified. I pause. Evelyn's fear that I'd sabotage her success doesn't surprise me. Maybe that's how little she thinks of me now, that I'd take revenge by crushing her professional life. Lucas leans in, voice lowering. I just want to keep things civil. We're all adults here. I catch a bitter taste in my mouth. Civil. This man has broken every vow I made with Evelyn, violated our home in every sense, and now he wants civility. I stand abruptly, sending a jolt of pain through my chest. I have nothing more to say. He stands too, stepping around the table, blocking my path. Wait, James. Get out of my way. I say, my tone calmer than I feel. For a second, I think he might push back, but he exhales and moves aside. I walk out of the cafe without looking back, my heart pounding so violently it feels like it might burst. The clouds have scattered by midday, leaving a harsh sun that glares off the wet pavement. My body feels heavy as I navigate the streets. My phone buzzes again. More messages from Evelyn. I can't bring myself to read them. In the reflection of the store windows, I see a man in wrinkled clothes, face etched with exhaustion, eyes like hollow cavities. I realize I'm not done with this. Not by a long shot. Something in me refuses to let it go without a confrontation. A deeper one. As I drive back to the house, my mind churns with an idea. Maybe it's foolish. Maybe it's dangerous. But I recall reading once, betrayal is like a disease that rots you from inside, unless you cut it out. I text Evelyn, greater than come home tonight. We need to settle this. She replies almost instantly, greater than ok. 7 p.m. Will you be calm? I don't answer. I set my phone aside and spend the afternoon in a haze, pacing the living room, flipping channels on the TV without really watching anything. My thoughts linger on that hotel room, on her bare feet, on Lucas's smug grin. Each time, a pang shoots through my chest. I wonder if heartbreak can literally kill a man. Time crawls until 6:30. I light a fire in the fireplace, though the day outside is warm. I need the crackle of flames, the flicker of light dancing across the walls. I dim the lamps, letting shadows mingle with the glowing embers. She arrives a few minutes before 7. I hear her key in the door, a small sound that once brought me comfort. Now it makes me sick. I stand by the mantel, arms folded across my chest. She steps in, moves toward the living room. She's dressed simply, in a dark jacket and jeans, hair pulled back. Her face is pale, eyes red-rimmed, though she's tried to cover it with makeup. We stare at each other. The hush is deep. Finally, she speaks. "Hi." I nod, not trusting my voice yet. She glances at the fireplace, then at me, as if she's noticing how the room shifts in the flickering light. She bites her lip, steps closer. "I'm sorry about last night. I shouldn't have said certain things." I stand rigid, ignoring the throbbing in my ribs. "Yes, you shouldn't have." She sighs, hugging herself. "James, this is killing me too, you know." My laugh is hollow, echoing in the quiet. "Is that right?" She flinches. "Can we at least talk without tearing each other apart?" I wait, letting the silence grind. Then I wave at the couch. "Sit." She obeys, gingerly lowering herself as if uncertain the cushions might hold. She sets her purse aside. I remain standing, looming near the fire. "I saw Lucas this morning," I say, voice even. Her eyes widen. "You? Where?" I wave a hand dismissively. "He contacted me. Wanted to talk. Told me some story about how you feel suffocated, unappreciated, how he's not trying to destroy our marriage." She blinks rapidly, possibly fighting tears. "I didn't ask him to meddle." I tilt my head. "You sure about that?" She exhales, pressing a hand to her temple. "Okay, maybe I told him I was worried about you, that your anger might spiral." My anger flares. "You thought I'd do something violent." She shrugs, eyes glistening. "I don't know you anymore, James. That terrifies me." A tremor courses through my body. "We've been married for years, Evelyn, but you claim you don't know me." She's silent, eyes on the rug. The fire crackles behind me, spitting sparks. Then she speaks, softly. "I want a divorce." The words reverberate through the room. My shoulder clenches. My chest feels like it's caving in. I stiffen, my breath shallow. "You want to be with him." I manage, voice strangled. She hesitates, then lifts her gaze. "I need to be free. From us, from this. I can't live in that old version of my life. Even if I don't end up with Lucas, I still can't stay in this marriage. It's too broken." My teeth chatter as waves of pain course through me. The tension in my chest is suffocating. I rub at it, trying to breathe. My father's face flashes in my mind. I imagine him telling me to walk away, to keep my dignity. But there's a darkness in me, a desire for retribution, for some symbolic act that shows her exactly what she's done to me. "So that's it," I say quietly. "You plan to come here tonight and say that." She wipes a tear. "I'm sorry." I nod slowly, then approach the couch, looming over her. She trembles slightly, uncertain. I point to my phone on the coffee table. "I recorded the messages you two sent. I have your pictures, your friend's humiliating post. I have everything. Evidence." She swallows, eyes wide. "Evidence? For what?" I step back, crossing my arms. "For the lawyers, for your precious reputation. A little reminder that you humiliated me publicly, that you dragged my name through the mud." Her voice shakes. "James, you wouldn't." I stare at her, letting my silence answer for me. She clenches her fists, tears streaming. "You want to hurt me. You want me to lose my job, my standing, everything. Is that it?" I say nothing. My father taught me that sometimes silence is the most terrifying response. She stands abruptly, stepping closer. "If you do that, you destroy both of us. Don't you see?" I I can't go back and change what happened, but you don't have to. I hold up a hand. Stop. I haven't decided anything yet. She inhales sharply, as if trying to steady herself. The fire crackles again, spitting an ember onto the hearth. We both watch it glow before flickering out. What do you want? She whispers. Tell me. And I'll do it. I press my hand against my chest, feeling that relentless ache. When I speak, my voice is gravel. I want you to realize that everything you just said, divorce, betrayal, suffocation, none of that just disappears. Actions have consequences. I want you to live with that knowledge. She bows her head, trembling. I will, trust me. A shuddering pause passes between us. Then a surge of something. Anger, heartbreak, makes me pick up my phone. I tap a few icons, open the photos. Look, I say, my tone harsh. She glances at the screen, sees her and Lucas locked in an embrace. She winces. James, please. I push it closer. No. Feel it. That's your face. That's your body. That's your betrayal. Her eyes fill with tears again, and she bows her head. Stop. I can't. I toss the phone back onto the table, staring at her in fury. Then, abruptly, my chest tightens. A spike of pain shoots down my arm. I hiss, pressing my hand to my sternum. She rushes over, alarmed. Are you okay? I wave her off, staggering back a step. My breath comes in ragged gasps, but I manage to steady myself. Get away from me. Tears spill down her cheeks. She stands there, arms shaking, wanting to help but afraid to touch me. James, you need a doctor. No, I grunt. I just need you gone. Lightning or no, I can sense the final storm raging inside me. Slowly, the pain eases, leaving me damp with cold sweat. I stand upright, wiping my brow. She doesn't move. If you're having a heart attack. I'm not. I snap. This is the pain you gave me, Evelyn. The pain you stuck in my chest the minute you decided to cheat. Every time I breathe, it's there. She's trembling, tears streaking her cheeks. I'm sorry, she whispers, voice raw. I'm so sorry. I clench my jaw, staring into the fire. For a moment, I recall the warmth we once shared, the nights we laughed and held each other close. Then the memory morphs into that vile post from her friend, the hotel scene, her bare feet next to that man. I close my eyes, inhaling. I'm going to talk to a lawyer. We'll figure out the assets. We'll make it clean. But don't expect me to hide anything. If people find out the reason for our separation, that's on you. She lets out a shuddering sob. James, please, you know how important my career is. I'll lose everything. I turn to face her, voice flat. Then you should have thought about that before you crawled into his bed. The words ring out, final, echoing in the flicker of the fireplace. She covers her mouth with her hand, tears rolling down in silent streams. We stand like that, locked in the shared knowledge of our destroyed life, with no way to turn back. Finally, I reach for the lamp switch, flooding the room with harsh electric light. Take whatever you need tonight. I say, but leave the keys on the table. I'll handle this from here. She nods, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. Without another word, she crosses to the bedroom. I remain by the fireplace, my heart a relentless drumbeat. She returns a few minutes later with a small bag, eyes hollow. She sets the keys on the coffee table with a faint clink. At the door, she lingers, looking back at me like she wants to say something. I keep my back turned. Then the door opens and closes softly behind her. I don't know how long I stand there. The flames in the fireplace flicker, casting shadows on the walls. My shoulder throbs, my heart hammering as if I just ran a mile uphill. But the house is silent now, empty of her presence. Eventually, I move to the couch and collapse, burying my face in my hands. For a while, I just sit there in numb solitude. The pain in my chest hasn't left. It throbs like a second heartbeat. Outside, The wind picks up again, rattling the windows. A new storm, or maybe just the aftermath swirling around. I reach for my phone, noticing a text from my mother, probably concerned why I haven't called. Another from an unknown number. Lucas? I ignore them all. My entire being is consumed by one singular thought. She's gone. Days pass in a blur. I handle the legalities, contact an attorney. The official process is surprisingly quick, just a stack of papers that detail how we'll divide our life. I notify the bank's HR that I have a personal matter to attend to, taking a few days off. My colleagues send polite well wishes without prying. Evelyn moves her things out bit by bit. We communicate only through brief texts about finances. Once she tries to call, but I let it ring. My nights are spent in an empty house, the silence unbroken except for my own footsteps. Every now and then, a pang of regret stirs in me. Memories of her laughter, her ambition, the way she curled her toes under the covers. But the immediate image that overrides it is of that hotel room, her bare feet on that cheap carpet, Lucas in a towel. My anger spikes, fueling me. At some point, I learn she's staying with a friend, not Lucas. Maybe that's true, or maybe not. I don't care anymore. Something in me has hardened, a shell grown thick over the raw wound. A week later, the divorce papers are nearly finalized. I receive an email from her attorney with minor changes. I read it, sign it, send it back. It's mechanical, lifeless. It's the last step before the court date that will end our marriage. That night, I sit by the fireplace again, a bottle of whiskey on the table. I pour a glass, watch the flames. Memories swirl like ghosts. The sense of betrayal still biting. My shoulder twinges, and I recall the stress tests I underwent years ago. Maybe I should see a doctor. But not tonight. Tonight, I need to finish this. I unlock my phone, open social media, and find the post that started it all. It's still there, on her friend's account, though the friend has hidden it from public view. I stare at the caption, "When your boyfriend is better than your husband." A mocking grin from the two of them. My blood boils. I open the photo, screenshot it. Part of me wants to repost it, broadcast it to every acquaintance we have. Ruin her, expose him. But I think of my father. Don't make decisions in anger. My mouth tastes bitter as I realize the old man's voice still guides me. I exhale, saving the screenshot to a private folder, then setting the phone aside. Firelight dances across my face. Slowly, I raise the glass of whiskey to my lips, sipping the fiery liquid. The final step is tomorrow. The last piece of paper, the last signature. Then it's over. I stare into the dancing flames and let the silent tears track down my cheeks. This is the real pain, the kind that gnaws at you from the inside, the kind you carry alone in the quiet. I remember her face the day we met, the joy I felt when she said yes to my marriage proposal, the pride in my father's eyes at our wedding. Now, all that's left is ash and regret. And tomorrow, when I sign those papers, I'll be free, or so they say. But freedom tastes a lot like sorrow. The morning air is crisp. I stand outside the courthouse in my best suit, hair neatly combed, tie properly straightened. Evelyn arrives in a taxi, wearing a conservative black outfit that makes her look distant, almost funereal. We exchange nods, no words. Our lawyers handle the formalities, and we sign the documents. In under 30 minutes, we're directed out, the process complete. The final hearing is scheduled soon, but for all intents and purposes, our marriage is done. We walk out onto the courthouse steps. I turn to her one last time. She opens her mouth as if to speak, then closes it. There's a flicker of something in her eyes. Remorse, sorrow, maybe a hint of love left. But I'm tired of reading those signals. I walk away, down the steps, ignoring the ache in my chest. My father was right. Not all pain is visible, but it devours you from the inside. The difference is, I won't let it define me. I won't carry her betrayal for the rest of my life. As I step onto the sidewalk, the sky overhead is dull gray. A mild wind rustles the trees, as though another storm might roll in later. But for now, the clouds hold. No thunder, no lightning, just a lingering heaviness in the air. I breathe deeply, adjusting my tie. I can't say I feel triumphant, and I'm not sure I'll ever feel entirely whole again. But in that breath, I sense a release, a quiet acceptance of what must be done. Evelyn wanted freedom. She has it, and so do I, though it cost us both more than we ever dreamed. Across the street, people hurry along, minding their own affairs. Cars rush by, unaware of my private war. In that moment, I realize I've reached the end of this chapter. There's no dramatic flourish, no perfect resolution. Only life, ticking forward. I turn my gaze to the horizon, taking one final look at the courthouse behind me. Then I walk on, feeling the weight on my chest, but also an odd sense of resolution in my soul. Because even though not all wounds heal, some can be endured, step by step, breath by breath, until one day you look back and realize you survived. And that, in the end, might be the only victory any of us can hope for.